If you're a new content creator or if you're a small content creator and you're struggling to get views on your videos, this piece of content is going to help you massively. So I encourage you to put down any distractions. If you can't do that currently, then make sure that you add this to your watch later, but make sure that you come back and watch it, because what you're going to learn in this video is going to help you get over the hurdle of difficulty getting views on your videos. So what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to be talking about a couple of, very important, things related to just making sure that you're making good content and things like that, the obvious stuff. But we're also going to be talking about getting your videos to show up in YouTube search when people are looking for things, getting your videos recommended more on YouTube's homepages, getting people to respond better on YouTube's homepages and suggested videos as well. If time allows, we're also going to be talking about amplifying the views that you're getting once people do start responding better to your content, once you have more activity happening on your channel. We're also going to be talking about, if time allows, bringing traffic in from elsewhere if you are a content creator that does publish your content on, platforms all over the internet. So as we get into this, I do want to let you know that if you do have questions about anything that we're going to be talking about, at the end of this, I'm going to be doing a question and answers session. So if you have any questions at all, make sure that you write them down so that once we get to the Q&A part of this stream, you can ask the questions and then I can add any clarity that is needed to help you, better understand any of the information that we are going to be sharing today. So the very first thing that I want to bring to your attention, just the big elephant in the room. And I'm going to be showing you examples, of all these things that we're talking about too. But the big elephant in the room that I have to make clear as we get into this content is that there is not any shortcut when it comes to YouTube in terms of if you do not make content that people respond well to, then all of the information that you can learn about YouTube isn't going to help if the content itself isn't content that people respond to positively, okay? So at the core of all of this, you have to make good content and you have to go through the process of developing the skills in order to do that. In addition to that, it's important because we're gonna be talking about a lot of optimization things, right? About, putting words in certain places, making sure you're highlighting, the right things and stuff like that. But the idea that is extremely important to understand as well is that you always want to optimize for the viewer, regardless of where it is that you're trying to get views from on YouTube. And I'm getting these disclaimers out of the way. Another thing that's really important to make sure that you remember as we go through this is that while we're talking about YouTube search, a lot of that information also will apply to YouTube's home pages as well, and vice versa. Because if you have a video show up in YouTube search, it's probably getting recommended also, but just because your videos are getting recommended doesn't mean that they're going to show up in YouTube search, right? So because of that, it's really important to make sure that you consider those things. In addition to that, the information I'm going to be sharing with you, it applies to live streams, it applies to YouTube Shorts, and it applies to long form content. For the sake of this conversation, because I'm on a computer here and the examples I'm going to be giving are on a computer, because of that, we're going to be focusing primarily on that type of content. But we got some shorts here, so we might pull some of those up here a little bit later as well. But I just want to make sure that I get those disclaimers out of the way because, again, there are not shortcuts. You got to learn how to do the thing. But one of the things I'm going to be sharing with you is like this right here, how with this live stream that you're watching right now, this popped up in YouTube search within 3 minutes of me scheduling this live stream. And the reason for that is because I was optimized for a very specific term when it comes to, getting this video to show up there. Now, of course, that was by my view. If I look at it in the incognito view, because it was in number, I think like 3 for me. But if I look at it in incognito view, then which you should look for when you're doing, keyword research and things like that, which we're going to be talking about. But when it pops up in search in incognito, in that case, it's lower down, but it's still in there. But one of the things that's really important with this is when you are optimizing your videos for search and you are doing keyword research and you're searching your competitors for the term, you want to look at it from being logged in, but just keep in mind that all of your search results are catered to your account. There are some crossovers, but they're all catered to your account. So when you're looking at everything from your account, you can't really get a clear picture, and it's only really half of the story. So because of that, it's important to look at it in incognito mode. But keep in mind, most people aren't going to see it in incognito mode because people also have account histories that YouTube also keeps in mind, or that the system, is logging in terms of this viewer watches this type of stuff, they respond to this type of stuff, they watch these channels. If those channels have a video that solved this problem that they're searching for, then we're going to, prioritize some of that type of information. So just keep all of that in mind. So let's go ahead and get into it. So when it comes to YouTube, you have different traffic sources on YouTube. So the ones we're gonna focus on here are the top 4. The fourth one there for the external traffic source, and all of that is over on the left-hand side. You can see all this information yourself in your YouTube analytics to see exactly how people, are responding to different aspects of your content inside of your analytics from the different pages of YouTube. But that's content for a whole other live stream. But when it comes to the traffic sources, you have the primary ones are YouTube search, browse features, which is YouTube's homepage, YouTube subscription feed. You have suggested videos, and you have external. And then obviously you also have, the shorts feed as well, because, shorts are definitely, a huge thing when it comes to YouTube. But when it comes to shorts, the real thing that you do when it comes to shorts, just to go ahead and get that out of the way, if you want views on your shorts, make sure that you're optimizing for, a particular thing so that there's clarity in terms of where it shows up. Shorts can show up in the shorts feed, which is where most of the traffic is going to come from, but you can also have shorts show up in YouTube search. And because of that, if the content that is held within the YouTube short would make sense for somebody to respond to in YouTube shorts, then you want to make sure that you are optimizing for that as well. And by optimizing, I'm going to explain what I mean by that here in just a second. But one of the things, or one of the reasons you want to make sure that you keep that in mind, is because today, I was trying to learn what I think it's called like a kappa or something like that on a guitar. It's basically a thing where you clip it on a guitar neck, and then it changes the pitch of the of the strings when you're playing them. And as part of that, I searched for how to use a kappa, if that's what it's called, or copa, something like that. But I searched for it, and at the very top of YouTube search, I have the option to click on an 8-minute video, is 8 or 9 minute video, or a 7-minute video. But I, underneath that, had the option to click on a YouTube short. So, of course, I was like, okay, the capo, thank you. So I was like, okay, the capo, I'm just going to click on the short because this can't be too complicated. It's just a clip, right? I'm just trying to figure out what it does. So I clicked on the short, and because of that, I got exactly what I needed, and I didn't need to watch that, 9-minute video. So when it comes to the YouTube shorts, it's important to know that you can also optimize those, so where you're going to get a lot of your traffic, or maybe even most of it, from the shorts feed, but you can also have those show up in YouTube shorts as well, and shorts show up on the home page. So because of that, you need to make sure that you are optimizing those if your content type, supports it, that you are optimizing those, of course, for clarity for the viewer, but that you are also including keywords or keyword phrases, which we're going to talk about what those are, in your titles as well, so that you are increasing the likelihood, as long as people respond to them there, of those shorts also showing up in YouTube search as well. So when it comes to optimize, what I mean by optimize is when you are publishing content to YouTube, you are putting together your thumbnail, and you're putting together your title, and you're putting together your description. Some people are still using tags. So because of that, what you want to do when you are optimizing is you want to make sure that you're being intentional about the things that you put there, so that you can give YouTube systems the information that it needs to get a really clear understanding of what your content is about. But you need to also do it in a way that the viewers of YouTube, the people that you're trying to reach, they will easily understand what the video is about and how it relates to them. So one of the things that we're going to talk about is keywords when it comes to getting your videos to show up in YouTube search, once we get to that part. But you have keywords, and then you have keyword phrases, and you have long tail keyword phrases. So an example of those when it comes to optimization is if you had a video and it was titled, how to make a cake. Then in that particular case, how to make a cake would be the keyword phrase. Cake would technically be the keyword for that. But if you said how to make a cake, for diabetics, then in that particular case, you're optimizing for something that's more long tail, or something that's just more specific, right? That's what long tail is. So because of that, you have to make sure that you are considering, those things when you're putting your content together. But when it comes to YouTube search, one of the things that's important to make sure that you think about is, if you want your videos to come up in YouTube search, the things that make videos get ranked in YouTube search is how well the title, description, and this is directly from YouTube, how well the title, description, and video content match the viewer's search, and what videos drive the most engagement for a search. So when it comes to that, if we talk about optimization, what you're doing is you're optimizing your videos if you're trying to get them to show up in search for relevance, okay? And the reason for that is because YouTube search filters, and let me turn this thing off there. If you look up in the top right-hand corner, when you go and you search for something on YouTube, there's this filter option. If you click on that, then you're gonna see that the one that's highlighted or bolded, and I have a little arrow next to it here in this example, but it is relevance. That is the default setting on YouTube. So because of that, when you are optimizing your videos for search, you need to make sure that you are including keywords or keyword phrases that people are looking for actively in YouTube search, so that it tells YouTube systems that that video is about something that, that people are looking for. Now, keep in mind, YouTube system is smart enough to know that exactly what your video is about. So they know what you're saying in your video. They know what you're showing in your video. This live stream right now, they're logging every word that comes out of my mouth. It's looking at everything that I'm showing on the screen and all of that. It's all happening in real time. The same thing happens with your videos. While it says processing, all of that's happening in the background, right? And that helps YouTube determine who to show the content to. So when it comes to adding the right words to your title and the right words or phrases to your description, the idea there is that you're giving the system a leg up in just adding clarity to what it is that you've created, so that you're intentionally saying, hey, this is what this is about. So that if somebody does search for it, based on relevance, right, the thing that we're optimizing for here, that it matches what people are looking for, and then therefore increases your likelihood of actually showing up. But again, like I said when we first started this, they also consider, if you look underneath the highlighted one, they also consider what videos drive the most engagement for a search. That's why when this first started, I highlighted the idea that even though, even if you optimize everything perfectly, you still have to, be very intentional at making your videos better based on how people are currently responding to them. Because if you can have people responding better to your videos in terms of clicking on them and watching them for a longer period of time, and just further engaging in YouTube search better than the other results that are there, it doesn't matter how long those videos have been there. It doesn't matter how big the channels are that are there. Over time, you can overtake that content. The videos that are locked in there are just the best results for that term based on how people are responding to them. So because of that, you can't shortcut, the making a good video part. But another thing and another reason that search by itself is helpful, keep in mind, before I get into this next part here, keep in mind that when it comes to YouTube search, it's just a portion of the traffic on YouTube, right? A portion of the viewership. Most of the viewership on YouTube comes from YouTube recommending content to the viewers of the platform. So because of that, search has its place. That's why we're talking about it, because for some channels, for a lot of channels, search is a great way to get your videos to show up. If you're a new content creator, search is also a great way to train YouTube on who to show your content to. Because when you publish a video, if it shows up in the recommendation system, you're going to have different types of people that are clicking on it, unless you're being extremely clear. But when it comes to YouTube search, the only people that are clicking on that video are the people that are actually looking for that content that you made. And because of that, for every one of those viewers that go into that search term and respond well to your content, it's teaching YouTube system that, hey, this type of viewer is enjoying this content, so who else is on the platform that might enjoy this? And then YouTube will recommend your content to some of those people to see if they enjoy it, from the homepage. So it helps fine tune who your content gets recommended to, which is a huge win. So when it comes to search, of course, we have YouTube search, and then we also have Google search as well. So when it comes to YouTube videos also show up in Google search. They show up in Yahoo search. They show up in all of the textual search engines that people use for the video results, or at the top of the textual results page. So because of that, it's important to just consider that if your content type supports it, and keep in mind, you don't have to make every video targeted towards search, but if you're trying to get over that hump, right? If you're one of those content creators that are just starting out, or you're just having trouble breaking through, then having some of your content optimized for search gives you the opportunity to keep trying to get people's attention from the homepage and suggested videos, but then it also will give you the opportunity to pull in some viewers from YouTube search as well, which are the right, perfect viewers for what it is that you're making, right? So that's why that's so important. But the difference when it comes to YouTube or getting or the thing that you want to do when it comes to getting your videos to show up in search is if you look at this example right here where I typed in guitar lessons for beginners, this was the #1 result for that. And with this #1 result, you can see the word guitar lesson is in there and then beginner is also in there. So in this particular case, this was enough context for YouTube to know who to show this content to, right? And or to know, that it should show up here. And they tested it here, and this particular video ended up working out the best here. Now, keep in mind, this is a very high volume search term. And because of that, this video's got, 27 million views on it from 7 years ago. And I also want to say that most of my most viewed videos on my channel, they've also come from YouTube search. So it's a mixture, of the traffic sources. But a lot of the videos on my channel that have over 1 million views on them, a lot of that is dominated by search traffic, by search views. So the power behind search is massive. And then if you look at this, one thing that's really awesome about this, because this one here, this one's only optimized for search. And I'm going to explain this difference here really quick to you as well, because it's important for you to know. So the reason that this one is optimized just for search is because they have Guitar Lesson 1, Absolute Beginner, Start Here, free 10-day starter course, right? So what they're doing right here is they're just trying to get people to click on this from YouTube search. Sure, some people are going to get recommended this content. They're going to come in, they're going to click on it there and they're going to watch it as well. But they're trying to get this to show up in YouTube search. This one, in contrast, is one that just showed up on my homepage. And on this particular one, because right now I'm learning how to play guitar, so I'm watching, different videos and stuff on it, and YouTube just recommended this one to me. And when I saw this one, I thought to myself, like, oh, wow, this looks interesting. Like, what's going on here? And the win with this one is they are optimizing for both. And this is like a power combo for increasing the views that you're getting, because then not only are you optimizing for YouTube search, but you're also optimizing for recommendations. So here they have the 98.5 success rate. So the guitar imagery is going to grab your attention. The 98.5% success rate is going to, suggest the idea that if you watch this video, that you are going to have a very good chance at playing the guitar by the time it's finished. And then the title, this should be everyone's first guitar lesson. So if this shows up on a homepage, if you are just learning how to play guitar like I am, this is extremely compelling. Even if you're somebody that already knows how to play guitar, you might also click on this because it's also compelling to where it's like, oh, well, what are they teaching? Is it too advanced? Is it actually something that would be somebody's, good first guitar lesson? So it comes at you at a lot of different angles. But one thing that they've done here is they also put first guitar lesson or just guitar lesson in here. And by doing that, that also gives this the opportunity to show up in search. But the thing that's important here is the word guitar lesson, because there the guitar imagery shows that it's about has something to do with the guitar, but then it also has guitar lesson in there, which is optimizing for search and the viewer themselves, right? So super powerful right there. But when it comes to search engines specifically, because we're talking about, YouTube search, Google search, all of it, it all starts at the topic. So, for example, if you're doing entertainment content like Mr. Beast, search isn't going to be your thing in most cases. People might be looking for you, or they might be looking for the video title if somebody shares it, something like that. But you're not going to be targeting, like a high, competitive term for YouTube search for something. If you're Mr. Beast, you're going strictly for recommendations because that's where most of the viewership is. That's where you win quickly. And you can win very big, very quickly if your videos are good. But if you're doing like a review video, you're teaching people things, you are sharing game guides, you are doing breakdowns of, characters in games, things like that. All kinds of, different things. If you're teaching people about entrepreneurship, I'm just going to look here real quick. Teach about entrepreneurship. You're teaching people about pretty much anything. Then you're reviewing cameras, showing your insights on cameras, lenses, all that. All of that is great for YouTube search. And most people here probably make content that's great for YouTube search. But we explained the relevant search filter, explained that. We did keyword, phrase. So when it comes to search, one thing that is helpful, and I'm going to actually share the screen here in just a second. I'll go ahead and do it now. But one thing that is helpful when you are going after YouTube search is also making sure that you're looking at your strategy for search like it's a tree, okay? So TubeBuddy has something called a keyword explorer. And within this keyword explorer, like if I were to put in how to play guitar, right? And you can try this for yourself. It's down in the description if you want to check this out. But basically, when it comes to this, right, we have how to play guitar, but then we also have these other things over here that people are looking for. So if you were to have a channel where you're just like, hey, I just want very consistent long-term traffic from YouTube search, then in that particular case, one thing that can be extremely helpful there is building out a tree of sorts to where you have like your main, keywords or keyword phrases that you're known for, right? That the thing that you do, that's the actual like branch of the tree, or the main branch of the tree, the root of the tree. I don't know what that's called, but basically there's that. And then all of the branches are all of the things that people want to know about that. Like here, how to play guitar chords, how to play guitar with fingers, how to play guitar for kids, how to play guitar songs, how to play Guitar Hero, how to play guitar faster, how to play guitar for beginners, how to play guitar and sing at the same time. But basically what you can do is you can go through and you can make content about all of these different things around your type of content and answer all of these questions. And by doing that, you're putting out all of this content that people are actively looking for that lead them into your channel, which is a huge win. And then while you're doing that, you can also be double dipping like we were doing with this particular one right here, where you're going after recommendations and you're going after search. And you can also mix in content that is only going in recommendation. But the idea, if you're trying to build authority around your channel on a particular subject, is to find all of the things that people are interested in around that subject and make content about all of them. You can see this in as an example on my YouTube channel. I link to that down in the description too. But with all of that, it basically helps you build authority around a specific topic, which is also something that can also help you in YouTube search and all of that as well. But when it comes to, optimizing your videos for YouTube search, if you're a new content creator or somebody that's struggling to get over that, mountain, we're going to talk about YouTube search right now. And then we're going to move into getting more attention from recommendation features, which is YouTube's homepage, suggested videos. That's what we're going to talk about next. So if you want, that information, then make sure you stick around for that. But basically, with TubeBuddy's Keyword Explorer, one of the things that you can do here is you can do that. Like what I just did is I put in how to play guitar. And then it's going to tell me based on my YouTube channel, because it has weighted scores and unweighted scores, but it's going to tell me, kind of like my chances for showing up there if the video is good. And again, big stamp on if my video is good, because you can put all the right words in your title and your description and all that. But if people don't respond well to the content, they don't click on it, at a high rate, or they just hit the video and then they leave it quickly because, your audio is bad or something like that, then in that particular case, there's no amount of, words in your title that can help you, right? It's not like that. You still have to make good content. But right here, they show you that, and then they also show you the search volume. So they have competition and they have optimization strength. I don't actually spend a lot of attention on these because what I do is I manually search these things because I don't want to just see the competition. I want to see who I'm competing with, right? Like who specifically made content on this. But I do look at search volume because that's really important. So when you are optimizing your videos for search, what you want to look for is, you can see here with this how to play guitar, it's all the way over here in the far green. That means that a lot of people are looking for this, okay? Now, if we were to go to how to play guitar without a pick, there's probably a lot looking for this too. Hold on. No, this one's actually up much lower, right? So here in this particular one, this would be more of like a, long tail keyword because we're getting into the, specifics here. But with this, one of the things that you can see is people aren't searching for this nearly as much as they're searching for how to play a guitar. So because of that, when you are, the Q&A is going to be here after this stuff is finished. But when it comes to going after just, how to play guitar, because there's so many people looking for that, if you can get your video to show up there, like the ones that you saw, that have shown up there, I think some of them were really old, like 7 years and stuff like that, that had like, 27 million views and that kind of stuff. But there's some there in those search results that have, like 1 million views that have been uploaded within the last, I think a year, maybe 7 months or something like that was what I saw. But the idea is that you just simply want to go for the stuff that has the high search volume. Now, you can take the approach where you go for high search volume and low competition, but what I recommend that you do is you actually just look and see who the competition is, and I'm going to show you how to do that here in just a second. But when it comes to, getting your videos to show up in search, the first step is making sure that you're using the right keywords or keyword phrases that people are actively looking for, okay? And keep in mind when you're doing this, One huge mistake that people make is they'll write titles and they'll do like keyword or keyword phrase, and then they'll put like a bar, and then they'll do another keyword or keyword phrase. You always want to do this stuff in natural language. You don't want to try to just cram a bunch of stuff into your title. Instead, you want to do it in natural language because, again, you're always optimizing for the people that are going to be interacting with the content, but you're using this to get your video to show up in the right place so that people can actually see the content when they're looking for it. And again, if you're just joining us, we're talking about, how to get views on YouTube. Right now, we're just on the search side of this. But another thing that's really cool about this particular thing is, let's say that you're looking for something. You're like, okay, well, I'm looking for a video idea, and this particular video has a low search volume. So let me see when it comes over to here, like just other things that, people are looking for around this. So one of the cool things about this particular tool is it shows you other things that people are looking for. So you can be like, okay, well, in that case, how to play guitar chords. And then in this particular one, I guess a lot of people are going for that one, so it gives me a poor score personally based on the content of my channel. But there's still a decent amount of people searching for this. So because of that, this still might be something that I would make if I had a guitar channel and I was trying to get attention to that guitar channel. But the idea when it comes to this is just to make sure that you are trying to find content that has high search volume, and then you want to go and look at those channels. So as an example, I'm just going to take this how to play guitar chords, and I'm just going to show you what you would look for here. So I'm going to go how to play guitar chords. If I was like, okay, this has competition, let me see if I think I can compete here, right? So, and keep in mind, when it comes to search, again, you don't have to have an authority channel on it. It's helpful, but if you are going after a particular keyword or keyword phrase, if people respond better to your videos than the videos that are here, then you can end up overtaking those videos. Now, some of them, like this one, it's been here 11 years. You're probably not going to outdo this person on this particular one. But, you might end up showing up here, or you might end up showing up like right here, right when people are looking for alternatives. But one of the things that I mentioned before about when this was first starting, if you weren't here, I mentioned that it's also important to consider this stuff when you're making YouTube shorts. And the reason for that is because right here, you can see how right after I get through these 3 results, now we have YouTube shorts around this. And this particular one has 885,000 views. That might have come from the short shelf, or some of this could have come from YouTube search as well. But all of these have lots of views on them. Let's see here. The only problem with this, I find, is how-to videos. So it's not how-to videos. You can also use this for, if you're doing like reviews, if you are doing anything where you can add a keyword or keyword phrase to it. Like all you do is you take your type of content and you just go up here and you start, I'm actually going to go look at Punisher World really quick. And I'm going to just see the type of content that you make and see if search is appropriate for what it is that you're doing. Because, most of this applies to channels. You just have to get creative on how you're doing it. Punisher World. Okay, like right here, you have Bannister's Ghost of Eden, right? So you're going after Ghost of Eden. You have Cookie Cutter Get Ready. So I guess Cookie Cutter is a game. So yeah, you can absolutely optimize for these things. People are going to be looking with gaming content. People are going to be looking more for solving specific problems. So first look, yeah, that would probably be one. But when it comes to your unboxing, that kind of thing's a win. But keep in mind, I would focus on what it is that you offer because you're kind of mixing things there. But we'll save that for another conversation. But yeah, you can absolutely use this for gaming content, but you want to use it around solving problems for people when it comes to games versus just like a let's play or, something like that. But back to the task at hand here. But what I would look for here is I would come and I'd be like, okay, first, how long have they been there? And then I would look to see just kind of how they're optimized, and I'd look for anything that stands out in terms of how they're framing what it is that they're doing. So here, guitar lesson, how to play your first chord. Simple, easy to understand, pretty hard to compete with. Guitar chords, also simple, easy to understand. 8 guitar chords you must know, beginner guitar lessons. All of this is fantastic. Me personally, just based on the age of these and, just how clear everything is, I probably wouldn't even try to compete for this if it was me. But if I did, the next step is I would click into here and then I would watch and I'd be like, okay, what does he say here in the beginning? I would watch this entire video and I would look for these because YouTube shows us these now. And I would look for the parts that people skip through, right? So here we have this. Make sure you can see this. Yeah, I'm going to take my camera down just so you can see this clearly here. So if you look right here, you can see here that YouTube shows us that this section here is one of the most replayed. This right here is also one of the most replayed. This right here, let's keep going. Okay, that is not. Yeah, so really it's just these parts right here that are the most replayed. So I guess these are the setting up parts. So step number one is I would look at these because these are of interest to people. And I would see the content in here and I would see if like, okay, if this is what people are looking at the most, could maybe I start the video with this? Or could I mention that I'm going to be talking about these things in the video? Or could I give some type of teaser to this so that when people do click on the video, that's the first thing they see or hear since people are interested in this? Or I let them know that we're going to be discussing those things. And then I would go here and I would look through all of these different spikes and I would see exactly what was happening there and see if that's something that I could use as part of my hook. The next thing is I would come down here and I would just kind of look around, see if there's anything that might be driving people off. In this case, because this has been on here for a really long time, you know, they actually don't have their description optimized, which is another thing that I want to bring to your attention. One of the things that you're going to see when you see people talking about search engine optimization on YouTube is typically you want to make sure that you have, you know, your keyword or keyword phrase in your title. You want to make sure that you have it in your description. And I would also mention it in the video so it's in your captions as well, or just in the content. But you don't have to. So the lesson here is that as long as you have that clarity in your title, it can still show up. And here's one that's going to bake your noodle, as they would say in the Matrix, is when you are doing this part of the research and you're actually searching for those terms that you're going to try to show up for, one of the things you're going to see is you're going to see some content that's going to show up there that's not optimized at all. It has something to do with what it is, you know, the topic's about, but it's not optimized in the way that you would traditionally do it. But most of the things that you search for are. But the reason that some of them are not is because YouTube systems are smart enough now to understand what your content's actually about. And if it tests your content there and people respond to it there better than the optimized content, then you're still going to have that show up there, even if you don't have it all optimized. But the next thing I would do is I would scroll down here and I would go into the comment section and I would just look. Okay, so let's see, is there anything down here that people are saying? Okay, one thing about the fingers right here. One thing about the fingers when you're starting out is that you need to develop calluses on the tips to make that makes the strings ring clear. At first, your tips are soft, will make the string sound. Happened to me when I first started. So this is an additional tip that the viewer thought was important enough that they needed to come down and add a comment in terms of, you know, adding more to the conversation here. So in this particular case, this might be something that you would either add to the video and then you would let people know in the video that this is something that you're going to be talking about, right? Like, hey, you know, if your fingers aren't working right now when you're playing guitar, then, you know, I've got some information that is going to explain why that happens and, you know, blah, blah. Or you could just log this as a video that you're going to make later. But the idea is to just go through the comments, look for things that particular content creator that you're researching, look for things that they might have actually left out of the conversation that might have caused some people to leave, and you can use that to your advantage when it comes to putting your hooks together. Now, one more thing I want to show you here, and then we're going to move on to the recommendation side of this because we're 33 minutes in already. So another thing, regardless of the type of content that you make, is another thing that can be helpful. So you have keywords, TubeBuddy's Keyword Explorer, to where you can, you know, get the competition and see how much, you know, people are looking for what it is that you've made. But you also need to make sure that you are keeping in mind, if you're like, hey, I don't know the videos to make in order to show up, one thing you can do here is, let's see if I can just grab one here. Okay, we got old poker jokes, tech generator. Okay. So here I can go up here and I can say tech, right? And I can just kind of look for stuff. That's probably two. We had tech accessories show up, right? When I click on here, we have tech accessories show up, tech amazing, but that's probably too broad. But let's go to poker. So if we go to poker, we got poker face, electric guitar. Okay, so we got Lady Gaga popping up here. If I just do poker tea, then we see poker tips, tournaments, poker tips and strategies, poker tutorial, poker tells, poker Texas Hold'em, poker tutorial for beginners, and then I hit the backspace, and then I'll just go to A and start there. See if there's anything there I'd be able to make a video about. No, go to B, see if there's anything there. Poker basics, bam, there's a video. Poker beginner guide, bam, there's another one. Poker betting strategies, there's another one. Poker biggest win, probably not unless you're doing a reaction video. But those types of things are things you can look into. And another thing on the reference earlier about these types of things are only good for how-to channels is like here, let's just look for poker biggest win in this particular case. Yeah, so here, these are not how-to videos, but it's something that people are interested in, right? Which is why it's important to make sure that you look for these types of things around your content, because you might uncover something that you can make a content about that can drive enough people to your channel to kind of kickstart the motor, so to speak, on your channel. It's probably a poor way to phrase that, but you get the idea. So when it comes to YouTube search or search engine optimization, the idea is that you find a keyword phrase using TubeBuddy's Keyword Explorer that's getting searched for at a high volume. And then when you make that content or any of the content that you're going to make for search, ideally, you want to make sure that the keyword or keyword phrase is in the title itself. You want to make sure it's in the description, and you also want to say it in your video along with variations if you can. But you don't want to just stand there and repeat it or anything like that, because that's spammy. What you want to do is you just want to do everything in natural language. So you just want to say it when you're communicating, okay? So as an example, in this particular live stream, I probably said something in the beginning about, today we're going to be talking about how to get views on YouTube and blah, blah, blah. So I can make sure to get it in there too, even though this won't rank long term because it's a live stream and it's a very long timestamp. People will end up watching a shorter video for this. But the idea is to make sure that you are including those things. It's pretty easy in that regard. So the next thing I want to talk about is YouTube's recommendations. So when it comes to YouTube's recommendation system, just like YouTube search, it starts at the topic. So some content is just better for YouTube recommendations. So for example, in this particular case, let me show my screen again. So right here, Jamie Robinson, they published a video 2 months ago of why I'll never do another guitar giveaway, okay? Now, this type of framing, these types of things work amazingly in YouTube's recommendation system. And the reason for that is because it builds up an expectation that you feel you need to click on in order to be satisfied, with that buildup. So here, why I'll never do another giveaway, and then you immediately start thinking like, oh, did something go wrong? Like, what happened? Was, what's going on? Let me click on this and find out, right? As we keep looking, we have from 0 to 1 million in a year, do this, right? This is not a search targeted video. This is recommendation targeted, okay? If this was a search targeted video, the difference would be, it would probably be, like how to make $1 million in a year, or make $1 million in a year, 5 ways to, to accomplish that, or something like that. But here it's from 0 to 1 million a year, do this, right? So that's more recommendations. Here, how to create fake backgrounds for YouTube videos for free. Great concept of a video, but this is targeted for search, but it's probably getting crushed in recommendation traffic right now too, just because it's like an interesting concept, right? So that's why it's important in terms of it starting at the topic, right? We've got, I'll never do another guitar giveaway, right? So him just sharing his opinion on that. From 0 to 1 million a year, starting at the topic. Here, making the fake background for YouTube. It's something interesting, right? If you're a content creator and your background sucks, this is going to be interesting to you. As we keep scrolling down, Elgato Prompter long-term review. This is a double right here, because in this case, what Tom is doing, and Tom Buck is an amazing content creator, by the way, so make sure you check him out. But basically, in this particular case, he's got Elgato Prompter in there so that he might show up in YouTube search when people are looking for information about the Elgato Prompter. But here, long-term review, so if somebody's looking for that, and then here, it really is fantastic. In my opinion, I think this would have a higher click-through rate, and I think he should experiment with this. I think this would have a higher click-through rate if he didn't give away his opinion right here, right? Because here, you don't have to click on this video in order to know that he was happy with this particular purchase. If he would have had Elgato Prompter long-term review in that particular case, should you get one, is a much bigger thing than it's really fantastic, because by saying it's really fantastic, he's giving away the reason that people would even need to click on that video in the first place. He's still got 11,000 views on it, so people still wanted to know, but I think it would do better if that particular piece was off. Same exact thing here, truth about trying to go full-time on YouTube, right? This is all great for the recommendation system. So when you are targeting YouTube's recommendation system, here's what you want to think about with your content. You want to think, yeah, that's good too, playing the mom game. If you're a content creator and your YouTube background sucks. So a few things to think about. One, if you're targeting YouTube's recommendation system, is you want to make sure that you're thinking of the framing, right? Like, okay, if I'm going to make this video, and you have to do all of this at the ideation stage, and you don't have to, but you're going to get better results and get more views on your content. But at the ideation stage, if you're like, okay, One, am I trying to get this video to show up in YouTube search? Am I trying to get it in the recommendation system, or am I trying to get it in both? And then make sure the topic is appropriate for both if that's the goal. And then from there, start working on how you're going to frame it. And the reason that's important is because if you work on that part before you make the content, then when people click on it, you're going to be able to deliver on their expectations, which is a huge win. So because of that, all of this stuff starts at the topic. But the difference between, targeting, I think I made it kind of pretty clear there in terms of the YouTube search versus the recommendations on the examples that I just gave. But just to give you one more, is when you are targeting, YouTube recommendations, if I said something like, this camera changed the way that I make content, that is a recommendation targeted video. If I made this about, how to use a Canon A6500, then in that particular case, that's something that is more of a search-based video, right? So the thumbnails are different, the titles are different, what you talk about in the video is different, which is why it's so important to think about this stuff in advance. If you can start thinking of all of this stuff in advance before you make your content, that by itself is going to help you, is going to help you get further. And again, just to put a big spotlight on it, none of this stuff matters if the content that people get when they click on it is not good. If people are not responding well to the content, then in that particular case, all of this falls apart. So you have to make sure, like, all of this is going to take you much higher once or if the content that you're already making is good content. And by good, I don't mean that like you think it's good, that's important too, but it also has to be good in the eyes of the people that are interacting with it. But when it comes to recommendations, so in YouTube search, you want to optimize for problem solving. You want to optimize for keywords and keyword phrases that people are looking for. When it comes to YouTube's recommendation system, you want to optimize for interest. You want to optimize for curiosity. You want clarity over specific words, right? To where instead of it being, a keyword phrase that you're just trying to squeeze into YouTube search, just making it clear, right, of what the video is about. And also, you can also do things to where you challenge the viewer in some way. So for example, if it was like, why Tesla is going to fail, right? Which I don't believe, but like why is Tesla going to fail? Then in that particular case, it creates that curiosity, right? It's like a challenge to the viewer. So if somebody's like really adamant about like, yeah, Tesla's, going to get us to Mars, then in that particular case, that person's going to click on the video just because it's a challenge on what they believe, right? So they're going to click on it just so they can argue with you in the comments. So, those types of things are also really, really important. You also want to think when it comes to recommendations, like again, with YouTube search, it's easy because you have just the words to rely on. So as long as you make a good video, then you have the keywords that you target and the keyword phrase. And as long as you make the content about that thing and people are actively searching for your content, then it's really easy to get people to respond in YouTube search. But the hard part when it comes to YouTube recommendations is you have to learn how to express your topics through the outside when people have zero context of what the video is about, right? And then you have to build it around that curiosity or the challenge or the, clarity or whatever. So, or just their general interests. So because of that, you have to get really good at learning how to express the topics from the outside. But when you are curious about how people are responding to your content from the different traffic sources, which I'll show this graph again, but you can actually go into your YouTube analytics. And if you want to get more views, you need to know about all this stuff too. So if you go into your YouTube analytics, you can actually go into your traffic sources report for every video that you publish, and you can see how people are clicking on your videos. So you can see, okay, if YouTube shows my video to 1,000 people in YouTube search, how are they clicking on it? Compared to if YouTube shows my video to 1,000 people in browse features, and if they show it to 1,000 people in suggested videos. Typically, suggested videos has the lowest click-through rate, typically, but not always. So because of that, just keep in mind when you do have a lower percentage of a click in suggested videos, it's kind of normal. But if you have a standard or a baseline performance from suggested videos, you can use that traffic source information to identify problem areas to where you can be like, oh, okay, well, maybe I didn't package this one right. So another thing that is also important to remember is that YouTube, before we get into this next part, is that YouTube is the motherland, right? Like, when it comes to YouTube, the best thing that you can do is learn how to get your videos to perform on YouTube itself, right? But people, I often get asked with my live streams that I do and things like that. People are like, how do I get my TikTok viewers over to YouTube? How do I get my Instagram people over to YouTube? How do I get, people from my Facebook group or my Discord over to YouTube? The way that you do that from all the different social platforms, because we're talking about, getting activity going. So, we've talked about already making good videos. That's step one. But two, we talked about, SEO, search engine optimization. We talked about, targeting YouTube recommendations. But another thing that is also important to consider is when it comes to the other platforms, people are definitely on those platforms because they want to be on those platforms. So it's already a challenge to get people to cross over. But for the people that are most engaged, the people that saw your stuff on TikTok or on Instagram, like, wow, this is great. I want to chase them down and find out where they make content everywhere so I can follow them everywhere because I love this stuff. For those people, I recommend that you just use some type of link in bio tool. If you check out mine, if you go to nicknimmin.com/bio, then you can see mine, the one that I use. I can embed like a video in there and a bunch of links and stuff. But basically that just interlinks everything. So if somebody is involved with my stuff, then they can find me in all these other outlets as well. So just make sure that you're using those. In addition to that, a lot of these other outlets like Reddit, for example, in your profile there, you can add your channel link. And if you interact in the subreddits around your content, then as people are exploring you as a user there, somebody that's commenting, then they can also find your channel that way as well. All of that is like really kind of being in the weeds, right? Because ultimately, again, you want all the action to happen on YouTube because that's where the juice is. But those are little details that you can do for while you're just uploading to those other places anyway, or while you're interacting on Reddit anyway. It just gives you those opportunities to also introduce more people to what it is that you're doing. Now, one thing that's also really amazing when it comes to getting more activity to your content right now is YouTube Shorts, and I have to talk about it. So when it comes to getting views on your videos, all views are not equal. So when it comes to YouTube Shorts, somebody in here just mentioned they were talking about how to keep viewers' attention till the end, and then somebody else also mentioned that I'm shocked. Hugs and Beans says I'm shocked at viewers' attention spans or lack of it. So it's not that the viewers have a low attention span; it's that it just comes to the content that you're making. So people will sit through a live stream. Like I do a live stream every Saturday and it's 3 hours long, and people will sit through that entire live stream. It's not the attention span. It's that the content that you're making isn't engaging enough that causes people to stay for a longer period of time. So when you see things like that and you're like, okay, well, it's the attention span of people. It's not the attention span. It's that your content and the way that you're putting everything together, it's just not engaging enough yet. Right? Because we're all working on that. We're all trying to get better all the time. It's just that it's not engaging enough to keep people watching for those extended period of time, right? Periods of time. So because of that, you have to go back to the default thing, which is what I was mentioning before about, making sure that you learn how to work on your skills so that you can learn how to make better content. But when it comes to Shorts though, Shorts is a great way to just get your message in front of people and to just get general activity happening on the channel, because with Shorts, they just pop up in front of people. So you don't have to, do anything additional there unless you are trying to get them to show up in YouTube search. Then you would rely on the information that we talked about earlier. But when it comes to Shorts, right now with the short shelf, just with videos, it's fantastic in terms of, just getting in front of new viewers. But they also, if you have live streaming enabled on your channel, you can also live stream directly to the short shelf now as well. I just did it for the first time last weekend, and I got in front of a bunch of new viewers, and I got like an extra 200 and something subscribers just from my vertical live feed on Saturday. So and that was just like an extra thing. I just set up my phone over here, and I'm like, yeah, we're just going to do it just to kind of test this feature. And we got a response. We got, it pushed me in front of a lot of new people that hadn't seen my content before. There were some, people that have, but it was a majority of people that were just new in the first place. So if you want to get in front of people right now while you're learning how to get your long form content to perform, if you're struggling with that, if you have the time, because I know, a lot of people are busy, and when it comes to making content, you might be doing all you can with the long form, and that's okay. But if you can either clip out, sections of your stream, if you live stream, or sections of your content that would make for a good short, and put it in the short shelf, and don't think of it through the lens of I'm trying to get my shorts viewers to watch my long form content. Think of it as I'm trying to also grow community members from my YouTube shorts. right? Think of it like that. So then you can serve them the short shelf. You can also get some of them that will also come over to your long form. I would look at shorts kind of like it's a different platform. Like I was mentioning before about TikTok. Somebody's on TikTok, it's hard to get them to come over to YouTube. Somebody's in the short shelf, it's hard to get them to go into your long form unless they're really, really enjoying your shorts. So because of that, do not use shorts as like an advertising platform, right? Use shorts as a content platform, just like you do everywhere else. And the people that love that content from you will click on your name and they'll go find more content from you. Now, once you get views coming in, you also, Louis, I believe they still do that. I would reach out to support@TubeBuddy.com, but I'm pretty sure they still have consulting programs that they do inside of TubeBuddy. I know that that was like a big thing that they did before Ben Group purchased them, but I think they still do it. But I think you need to send an email to them just to confirm. But another thing when it comes to amplifying the views that you're getting on your videos is if we go, and I'll just go to my channel real quick here and just click on we'll just do this first. So when you are publishing videos to YouTube, it's important, and this one's kind of like a low-hanging fruit thing again. Like the thing you should focus all of your efforts on is you should focus everything on like how do I make, you know, my videos better so that people will watch them longer? How do I work on my thumbnail and title better and my video topics so that people will actually click on my videos more? So get them clicking more, get them watching more, and just get them more engaged, and then worry about like these, you know, detail things, because these detail things are important, but if you're not getting any views, it doesn't matter, right? But basically what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have your YouTube channel page set up. Let's see here. Oh no, we're going to do this. There we go. You want to make sure that you have your YouTube channel page set up where you have sections of content. So you can see here, right? Like I've got AI tools for YouTubers, YouTube training step-by-step guides, best YouTube tools for creators, YouTube tips for beginners. I've got a whole TubeBuddy section on here on how to use TubeBuddy, like these types of things. So the reason that I do this is because when people come to my channel and then they are looking for more content, like the content they just enjoyed, I want to make it easy for them to find more. So you want to make sure that you have all of this set up on your channel. How you do this is you simply make a playlist, and then with that playlist, then you can go to the customization tab in the back end of your YouTube channel. Here, let me take this down real quick. I'll show you. But you go into the customization tab in your in the back end of your YouTube channel, and then you can add these playlists here. So let me pull this back up. So then you can add those playlists here, right? So out of these, we get, I believe it's 12 different sections. Yeah, 12 sections that we can add. And all these are playlists. So this particular one is just, you know, channels of, you know, channels that I work with, because I just want to, you know, also let people know that they have channels. But as part of this, though, the whole thing is basically to look at your content and look at all the different things that people come to you for, and then organize your content based on the things that people come to you for the most. And you can find this by looking in your analytics at the videos that are driving the most traffic to your channel over the last, you know, 28 or 90 days, depending on, you know, how you're doing things. But that is going to be extremely helpful. In addition to that, let me take this down. And I'm showing this. This is going to be super basic for some of you, but for others, this is going to, you know, like you might not even know this exists, which is why I'm showing it to you. But another thing that's also super important to make sure that you are doing is also adding end screens to your videos. This is really important because when somebody comes to the end of your video, you want to make sure that you have another piece of content that they can click on to go and watch. And the thing that will help you amplify the views that you're getting is when people get to this part of your video, you also want to make sure that you have all of this stuff set up to where you're leading people into that next piece of content. And when you do that, you're going to start having more people that will start clicking on that video. In addition to that, don't do anything that will cause people to leave the video before they get to this part. And the reason that's important is because if you start saying things like, and that's why I think this, or and that concludes our review, or that does this, or that, or the other thing, then in that particular case, they're going to leave before they even see this, okay? So another thing that's important to make sure that you use, and you can use these, just kind of tossing them in there, or you can use them strategically if you're post optimizing. Again, this is all after you're getting views on your videos. But in this particular case, you can see here I'm linking, I have one card that I'm linking to here. But with these, you can add them into your videos as well. And this is another way to amplify because you're sending people into other content, that they might care about of yours. Now, one thing that you can do here, just a little quick tip for you. If you have videos, let's say that in your audience retention reports, you find that people are leaving like right around, we'll just say like right around here. Then in that particular case, you can put a card about 10 seconds before people are dropping off so that you can siphon some, not everybody's going to, go for it, but you can siphon some of those viewers. And again, this is all based on around their interests. So you want to make sure that you're linking to something that because it's just going to randomly show up on the screen, something that has the highest appeal to the people that would be watching this video that you're doing this on. But what you do is you go into your audience retention reports, and if you have a part where everybody starts diving off because maybe you said the wrong thing or maybe, they just left for whatever reason, then if it's later in the video, because you want to save this for this post-optimization thing, you want to save it for the last 50%. In general cards, you want to save for the last 20% because you don't want to impact the overall performance of the video. But on the videos where people are leaving early because, maybe you made a mistake somewhere, if you put one of those cards there, some of those people are going to go off and they're going to end up watching your videos there as well for the things that you link to. So you want to make sure that you're using all of YouTube's features to send people around your channel, right? In addition to that, another thing that's going to help you perform better overall, and we're going to get into the Q&A part here in just a second, but another thing that's also really important to make sure that you're doing is a lot of content creators, they will just plan one video at a time. And they'll be like, okay, I'm going to make this video here, and then I'm going to make it the best that I possibly can, and then I'm going to work on my next video. I encourage you, if you want to get more people returning to your channel, I encourage you to make a series, and then make another series, and make another series. You don't have to make the videos back to back, but work on series. And the reason that's important is because if you work in series, then you're giving people a reason to come back. You're designing that if I publish this video on this topic, then the next video that I'm going to publish, it's going to be a video that these people here that watch this video would be likely to enjoy as well, so that when YouTube recommends it to them on their homepage, and when I'm using all these things that Nick talked about earlier in terms of framing things differently for the homepage and stuff like that, then in that particular case, when YouTube recommends it to them, you're increasing the likelihood of some of those people clicking on it and coming back in. And then when you rinse and repeat that process over a series of videos, then what you're doing is you're causing somebody to keep coming back to your channel. You're also fine-tuning because YouTube's like, hey, these people are really enjoying this, and then that also causes their system to start looking for other people on YouTube that enjoy YouTube in the same way that they do, and then YouTube will use that as information to also recommend your content to similar types of viewers on the platform. So when you work in series or you start doing content buckets or content pillars, then in that particular case it gives you the opportunity to build up audiences around those things and keep people coming back to the channel on a regular basis. And again, just to put another big emphasis on it, just as a quick reminder, again, no shortcuts. You still got to make good videos, right? In order for any of this stuff to work, the videos themselves have to be the thing, because when it comes to YouTube, what they're looking for is they're looking for watch time per impression. An impression is when YouTube shows your content to somebody on the platform. Watch time is obviously how much time they spend, watching your content. So if YouTube shows your video to somebody and they hit your video and then they end up leaving quickly, then you're going to get a low watch time for the impressions. But if YouTube's showing your video to somebody and they click on it, they come in and they watch your video for a long time, then you're going to get a high watch time per impression in that particular case. And then what happens there is when you consistently put out videos that get high watch time per impression, then YouTube can the system can start to expect that people enjoy your content and will recommend it. Now, every video lives and dies by its own, but it just kind of helps, fine tune things. So because of that, you gotta focus on that. So now we're going to go into the Q&A part of this. So if you have any questions about any of the things that I talked about, I wanted to make this more graphical, but I just kind of ran out of time today for it. But I wanted to make this more graphical, so maybe we'll do that next time. But for the Q&A side of this, if you have any questions about any of the things that I mentioned, or you just have general questions about YouTube, anything, that, like, I'm not going to pull up anybody's channels, but if you have any questions about, something that you're trying to, learn about YouTube or something like that, go ahead and ask it now. All you got to do is put a Q in front of your question. That's how I know that it's for me and not like a side conversation. Just put a Q and we'll go from there. And since I just did the Q, since I just mentioned that, I'll go ahead and answer some of these other ones that came in. So first, Laura says, how do I change a thumbnail photo? So first, to have a thumbnail photo, the first thing that you have to do, and here I'm going to go into here real quick, is once you are in the content, there we go. So once you go into the actual content here, you go into the video details page on YouTube, all you have to do is go down here, and then you click on this 3-dot menu, and you click on upload file. And then you can do the thumbnail there. Me, I'm currently using YouTube's A/B testing tool here also. So because of that, my interface looks a little bit different than yours, but you're gonna see an upload option here for your thumbnail, and you just click it there. If you already have one, then in that case, you click on that 3-dot menu, and then you click change thumbnail, I think is the language, and then that'll take care of that for you. Let's see here. After you did a vertical live stream, will the video be available in the live tab? Yes, it is. So if you look at my main channel right now, link to that's down in the description. But if you look at my main channel right now, I did one last Saturday. We're going to be doing it again. Yeah, it shows up in the live tab. So what I'm going to do is in the future, I'm going to unlist them. And that's just because I'm multicasting. Any streams that I do directly to the vertical shelf, I'm going to leave those at least for a while, see how they perform. But when it comes to the long form stream and then multicasting a vertical stream, the problem that is happening there is that the vertical stream is fine. It's still getting views and stuff. So is the long form video, but they're both getting recommended still in the recommendation system. So because of that, since they were literally published at the same time and they ended at the same time within seconds of each other, one of the problems there is that, let's say that you watch my content all the time and then you log onto YouTube, their system has to decide, you know, okay, do we show them this one or do we show them this one, right? So because of that, I'll be unlisting them in the future when I multicast. Art Manda says, I created a card in a recent video I made and it refused to work. Any idea why? It gets buggy sometimes, like sometimes they show up, sometimes they don't. But you know, you want to definitely give yourself, you know, the option by adding them in there. But sometimes, yeah, it's just, you know, sometimes the system's just buggy. Increase your watch time fast. That's going to come down to making content that people will watch for a longer period of time. And that also is going to mean planning your content out in series like I was talking about. So what you want to think about is like when somebody's interacting with your channel, if they're watching one video, right, and they're enjoying that video, then in that particular case, what can you send them to that you already have on your channel that would make sense to them or that would be interesting to them or important to them based on them proving that they're interested in the topic by watching that video. So for example, if I had a video reviewing coffee cups, right? Need some more logos, I think. But if I had a video reviewing coffee cups, in that particular case, the video that I was going to link to from that video might be, it would probably be about other coffee products maybe, right? If the whole thing's framed around, you know, coffee cups or the best, they keep your coffee the hottest longer. I don't know. I'm kind of spitballing this, but the idea is you want to be like, okay, if they're enjoying the content based on this, then in that particular case, the piece of content that I'm going to, you know, recommend that they watch next is going to be something that's relevant to their interest. It's not about like, oh, I want them to watch this video because I would like it. I want them to watch this better. If they watched it longer, give me more watch time. Don't think like that because you're not going to get people clicking over. But if you think in terms of the viewer and you look at everything you're doing through the lens of the viewer, then in that particular case, then you're going to be like, okay, well, if I was clicking on this video, that means that I'm interested in, you know, this topic or these things around this topic or whatever. So therefore, the video I'm going to be linking to next needs to also be something that would complement, you know, this particular video. So if somebody's watching it, they'd be like, oh, I want to know about that too. And then they would click on that. Also, driving people into playlists instead of just linking to individual videos, things like that is another way to do that. Let's see here. What does it mean if TubeBuddy says there's insufficient data in the monthly search? That means that there's not enough people really looking for it to matter, or that their system just isn't detecting people looking for it. My live stream on Saturday is at 9 a.m. Eastern. I do it with my brother. So basically it's a 2-person stream. Basically we just answer questions for like 3 hours straight. All YouTube related questions. We throw in some banter. We have fun too, because it's me and my brother hanging out, right? So because of that, you know, we have tons of fun with it. But it's at 9 a.m. Eastern on my main channel. Zion the Lion says, is optimizing for recommendations or search better? That's a great question. And the reason it's a great question is because it's similar to me asking like, you know, like I don't have a good reference here, but basically when it comes to the recommendation system or search, it comes down to what you're trying to do. So if the only thing you care about is how can I get as many views as possible, as fast as possible, in that particular case, the recommendation system's the win because just to put it into, like a clear example, if you were to make a extremely high performing video, let's say you have a 10-minute video, people watch it for like 95% of the video, and then you still have a high complete rate as people are clicking into the end screen, watching another video of yours for like, another 5 or 10 minutes, clicking into another video, watching another one. They're clicking on it at a really high rate, all those things. So let's say it's a really high performing piece of content and you publish that video right now. It's possible, it is a reality that that video could have millions of views on it by the time you wake up. However, if you make a video for YouTube search, in that particular case, there's an extremely low chance, almost zero, unless there's something that's trending that people are looking for. So if you made a piece of content around pop culture, like if you made something around the Grammys, in that case, maybe people are searching for information about that. You might be able to hit that milestone overnight too. But for almost everything, you're not, in most cases, you're not gonna have the traffic come in that fast from search. When you look at search, the difference between the two there is search is a long game, right? So the content you're publishing to search, like you're going to publish that content. You hope it does well in the recommendation system too. That's why it's always best to double dip and optimize for both. But when you are going after YouTube search, that content is there to bring in steady traffic over a long period of time. So that's why it's really good if you're a business owner and you're trying to bring attention to your business. If you are somebody that's bringing attention to things as an affiliate, if you have your own products or services that you're trying to bring attention to, search is great for that because it creates a consistent income source, essentially. So if you have a bunch of videos out there all ranked in search for all these different things and that all lead people to you or your products, then in that case, it's great. But the big game though, if you want to get really good at YouTube and get the best possible results quickly, is to get really good at the recommendation system and get really good at, just packaging your videos up there, coming up with the best ideas that you possibly can for there. You wouldn't make like how-to videos necessarily. You make videos that are more interesting there, opinions, that kind of stuff. Or if you do a how-to video, then framing it in a way that we talked about earlier today, that makes it, more interesting for recommendations is the move there. But in terms of which is better, it comes down to your goals and what you're trying to accomplish. I recommend that if you're a content creator and you're wanting to do this for a long period of time and the content that you make isn't content that's probably going to get 1 million views overnight, then in that particular case, just based on people's interests, right? If it's not that type of content, then in that particular case, mixing them up. So as part of your content strategy over the course of 90 days, you say, okay, I'm making these videos for YouTube search. I'm making these videos for to try my hand at YouTube's recommendation system or just for recommendations, and then, intentionally put out your content. Let's see, I tried posting every day and it's working for me. I can see the difference if I miss posting a day. Yeah, so when it comes to YouTube, bulk uploading will be exhausting. If you've only been doing it for a short period of time, that's fine, but it's not something that you're going to be, I'm not going to say it's not something you can because some people do it and they've done it for years, but most people, if you want to maintain a healthy state of mind, doing that over the course of the next 5 or 10 years probably isn't going to be a reality. So because of that, learning, how to make content that you don't need to post every day, that's the move. Because then in that particular case, it's a win. But one of the things that YouTube says is one of the things that, if you're getting less traffic from homepage or suggested, one of the things that they mention here is uploading less frequently than usual can, cause that to happen. So if you are usually uploading every day and then you stop, then in that particular case, that could be why you're seeing that impact. But if you uploaded 1 good video a week, really good chance, or 2 good videos a week, really good chance it could compete with or out-compete your daily efforts. Circle 8 Scuba says, when it comes to thinking of multiple videos to film together so you can point to the next one, what would you do if the first couple bomb and don't perform? Keep posting the rest of the series. Yeah. So it's usually good to see that stuff through. Now, if you're posting and you're like, yeah, people clearly aren't interested in this. If it bombs, it could be because you framed it wrong. It could be because maybe the thumbnail isn't clear. So make sure that you are looking in your analytics to try to figure out why people aren't responding to it. But when you are putting a series together, it can be helpful to see it through. As an example, on my channel, one of my top performing videos is a mobile video on like how to make thumbnails on your phone or something like that. And on that particular video, I started a series. It was called Mobile Monday was the series. And I made, I think it was like 3 or 4 videos about being a content creator on your phone. And they all just, they were non-existent pretty much when I published them. Like they were just horrible. And I was like, oh my gosh, they're not responding to this. And I was just like, okay, whatever. I'm going to abandon this series after I think it was like 4 videos. Let's fade the scene to like 3 or 4 months later. Those videos ended up blowing up through YouTube search. They ended up blowing up. That caused them to also, you know, trigger in recommendations. Those videos now have been like primary traffic drivers to my channel for a very long period of time. They kind of helped me build the core foundation of my channel. They became some of the strongest videos that I've ever published to date from that particular series. So I'm not, you know, continuing that series because that's not my, you know, it's not, you know, what I'm trying to do now. But at that period of time, I wish that I would have, you know, continued that particular series and made a whole thing. Like if you know, and like at that time, right, this is why that happened. At that time, it's when, you know, like everybody started doing more stuff on their phone when it came to being a content creator, all the apps and stuff. It's like, oh, wow, now there's some thumbnail apps. Now there's like a bunch of them and all that. But at the time, it's like, oh, wait, we found a thumbnail app that's good, right? That was a thing. So when I was making those videos at that time, it was just a big hole in the space. Like nobody was making those videos at the time. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this series, blah, blah, and it bombed. So I was like, no wonder people aren't making those videos, right? Nobody was looking for them, nobody was anything, but you know, I did them anyway. Because I thought at the time, and I was correct, it's just I didn't see it through, is I was like, okay, nobody's making this. It's something that people need, so I'm going to make it, right? For the people that are interacting with my content, for content creators. They need this. So I made that, and I was certain that they needed it, but because they didn't respond, I abandoned it. In your case, because you teach people, you know, how to scuba dive, if there's things that you know, that you're like, you know what, they need this information, like, you know, they're either looking for it now or they're interested in this now, or if I can figure out how to, you know, connect with the people that are interested in this, maybe they don't even know that they need this right now, but if I can figure out how to, you know, get them interested in it, then in that particular case, you know, seeing through that series based on your experience as a scuba diver could end up doing well for you long term, right? Because there's other things too when it comes to playlists. Like when you're doing series, then you also put those videos together in a playlist, right? I'm not talking about this here because this is more targeted towards, you know, new content creators, but you have experience. So when it comes to playlists, one of the cool things is as you're, you know, building into those playlists, if people keep clicking into those playlists and they start watching those videos together, then in addition to that, they'll start getting recommended together. So it doesn't matter if you're sending people into that playlist or not, YouTube will start noticing, hey, when people watch this video, they also watch this video, then they watch this video. And by doing that, their system will start naturally recommending those next videos to people, which is great and can help you amplify views right there too. In addition to that, if you have a series that you put together and it makes logical sense for people to watch step 1, then step 2, step 3, and so on, then in that particular case, let's say that initiating video, that very first one that a viewer comes into, if they're watching that video and you're like, yeah, click here, watch this for this next thing, whatever, and then they click on that, and then they enjoy that one, and they click on that next one, this originating video is going to end up getting promoted more, just shown more. It's going to get more impressions on it because when people are coming in there, it's causing them to watch more videos if that happens from them coming in from the recommendation system. If it comes in from YouTube search, it'll make that video stronger in YouTube search. But if it's coming from the recommendation system, then that originating video will also get credited, is kind of like a weird way to say it, but that's the best way that I can think of, but it kind of gets credited for that additional watch time. So before I mentioned in terms of one of the things that YouTube is looking for, obviously viewer satisfaction, but one of the things that also demonstrates viewer satisfaction is watch time per impression. So if they recommend your scuba video to somebody and they click on that scuba video, they come in and they end up watching 3 videos, that originating video is responsible for people watching 3 videos worth of, you know, watch time. So because of that, it gives more weight to that originating video that's causing all of those additional watches. That's the idea. No, shorts thumbnails you cannot change, unfortunately. Is it wise to change the video, the title of a video, if it's not getting any views? Will that make a difference? It can make a difference. And the reason it can make a difference is because different framings of your video will cause people to respond differently because people's expectations will be different. So let's say that, that I made a video about how to make a cake. And you came in and you watched that video and I'm showing you how to make a cake, but there's nothing really like, special about that video or whatever. You're like, okay, yeah, this was a good video. But then if I change the title to, how to make a delicious chocolate cake in under, 15 minutes, I don't know how long it takes to make a cake. But if I was like, hey, under 15 minutes, and you're like in a hurry and you're like, hey, I'm preparing this big meal and this cake's going to be a part of it. This is great if I can figure out how to do it, faster. Then in that particular case, that might cause people to respond at a higher rate. If that happens, then of course, that can get you more activity. However, it can also go in the other direction. So because of that, when you are doing those changes, you have to monitor what happens afterwards, because just as much as it can help the video, it can also hurt the video. So if you made a change, and let's say your video is about how to make a cake, then in that particular case, let's say you change the title to, how to make a, chocolate cake with, I don't know, baking soda. I don't know. I don't know the ingredients of a cake either. But anyway, like how to make cake. And it was something that, people that do know how to make cakes or whatever, they wouldn't be watching that video. If it was a video that those people were like, yeah, it's not really what I'm looking for, then in that particular case, it would hurt the performance of the video. So the idea is if you think you can make it better, then in that particular case, absolutely. But you also have to think about the expectation. The reason the expectation is important is because if people click on your video, like if you're like, hey, I want to make this super hyped up because it'll get more people to click on it. If they click on it, then they abandon the video quickly because the content isn't meeting their expectations, then that will also hurt you. Right? So even though they're clicking more, if they're leaving faster, then that's going to hurt you too. So you have to make sure you balance it with, okay, I'm trying to make this a better title, but I also need to make sure that it still creates the right expectation so people will still enjoy this video, which will then show YouTube that people are satisfied with this content so that they'll end up recommending it to more people. Shorts not getting views because people are not responding to them. So some of that could be your optimization in terms of, because you are making shorts. So it could be that, maybe your titles, aren't clear to what it is that you are. So you have here Quizzical Genius. I don't know if you're doing quizzes and things like that. If you are, then I would definitely make sure that all of that is clear in your titles. But if your shorts get published and people don't respond well to them, think of it like this. Okay. So let's say that you publish a video on your YouTube channel and that particular video does like okay, right? Well, YouTube's going to continue to show that to people as long as it continues to do okay compared to all the content that you are competing against. But let's say that somebody else or a handful of people publish other videos, right, that are still targeting your same type of viewer, and they end up performing way better than yours in terms of people clicking on them, watching them for a longer period of time, engaging, sharing them, all those things that are important to YouTube. Then what's going to happen is YouTube is going to start prioritizing that content because that content is bringing in, giving YouTube more of what it wants and the viewers more of what they want. So because of that, it's going to end up prioritizing that content. It's going to make your content not, get as much activity. Now, that also goes at the time of publish. Like if you publish your short and people just aren't responding to them compared to all of the other options that they're showing them, then your videos are going to get deprioritized, or really other content is just going to get prioritized over yours. It's not going to be a negative point for yours. It's just going to be that the others are just going to get higher points essentially. And because of that, YouTube is going to prioritize that content and show it to more people because people are responding to it better. So if you're stuck at 30 to 60 views, then it's going to come down to your content. Post shorts every day, but usually don't get a lot of views. Is there something that I'm doing wrong? Probably, same thing, probably the content. Like, one thing to keep in mind if you're a new content creator, and this is for, anybody here that's new and just getting started with all this, is this stuff is hard. It's not easy. If it was easy, every channel on YouTube would have millions of subscribers. Every video on YouTube would have hundreds of thousands of views. But it's something crazy. Like 88% of the views on YouTube or the videos on YouTube have less than 1,000 views on them. So like what you're doing as a content creator is you are stepping in to a professional arena. So some people do this with, as a hobby. They just do it as like a side thing, but they're really good at it. Some people do this professionally, like myself. We do this professionally. So because of that, you're competing with people that know what they're doing, and you're coming in to a platform that already has a lot of age on it, which means there's a lot of users, a lot of creators, a lot of amazing content already on the platform when you show up. So because of that, as a new content creator, you have to go through the process of learning the skills to do all the things. You got to learn how to get your videos to look right, how to get them to sound right, how to tell a good story. You got to learn how to, present to the camera in the first place. You got to learn how to use the camera probably, or learn how to use your phone to make the video. Like, there's so much stuff that you have to learn. I have a friend of mine right now. He's at the very beginning of the learning curve. Like, I'm getting messages all day. Like, hey man, I'm having trouble with this microphone. How to get this microphone to work. I just can't get it working right in my phone. Like he's there, right? And the thing I keep telling him is like, this is frustrating. I know it, but you need to embrace this part of the process because it's hard. It's not easy. Same thing. If it was, then everybody would have, huge success with everything that they published. So right now you're posting shorts every day and you're not getting many views. The thing that I would recommend is, instead of posting shorts every day, that you kind of post shorts every other day. And the amount of time that you would spend making and posting a short on the off days, spend that time watching videos on like video production, audio, watching videos on like optimization, like some of the stuff that we talked about here. If you want to start this stream at the beginning, watching videos on like camera presence, watching videos on telling good stories, watching videos on things like that, so that you can work on the skill building side of things. And by doing that, that's going to help you, excel with everything else that you're doing as a content creator. But hang in there. Like I said, like you're stepping into a professional arena. Like, people that you're competing against, not just in your niche, but you're competing, and a lot of new content creators a lot of content creators in general don't know this, but you are competing with everybody who is interested, every type of content that the people that you're trying to reach, every type of content that they're interested in. So let's say, for example, Anita, the people that are watching your content, they're also watching a lot of like music videos, or let's say they're also watching a lot of, housekeeping content, or a lot of, woodworking content. Then in that particular case, you're not just competing with the people in your niche, you're also competing with, good woodworking content. You're competing with, all of the other stuff that your viewers are interested in. So because of that, some of those are professional creators, probably a lot of them. So because of that, you just have to work on the skill set side to get everything to that point. Fortunately, with shorts, they just show them to people. So, I would work on like the story side of things in YouTube Shorts, so that you can, just kind of reel people in, learn how to hook people or grab their attention when your content first starts, and then lead them into something. I have a friend of mine, somebody in my community actually, that I'm looking at their YouTube channel. I'm actually a little bit behind on it. I have to get this over to him within the next like week or two. But basically in their particular case, one of the things that I'm bringing to their attention, because I've been watching a lot of their content for the sake of that conversation, is that they are just randomly starting their shorts in places. So there's no real context, when you're coming into the content. So because of that, you have to, think about those types of things. Like, look at it from a viewer. Like if my short were to just hop up in my feed, like, what about this short would keep me engaged? It's not the fact that I'm in it, right? We have to remove ourselves from that side of the equation. Like, what is it that would actually keep me engaged? What am I saying that would grab my attention when it first starts? From that part, after I say that thing, or after I show or share that thing, what am I doing next that I would also be like, oh, I need to see that, or I want to see that, or what's going on here, right? Like, you have to look at it through the eyes of a viewer and answer those questions. And when you do, then you'll start running into things like, yeah, I don't know why I would watch this part actually. And then you can start working on those things, right? Because then it's like, okay, well, if I wouldn't watch that part, then I'm going to take it out, because if I wouldn't watch it and it's my own stuff, then definitely nobody else is going to care about that part, right? How can I be rich? So it depends on how old you are, but investing your money. Like, don't buy things that you don't need. Don't buy things that you don't need. Invest your money. Don't spend money on just like dumb things. Like, you don't need an iPhone. Like, this is an iPhone. I think this is a 14, I believe. My girlfriend still has like a 13, which is still modern, for both of those. But like, I don't upgrade my phone with every phone that comes out. My Apple Watch that I have, I think that one's like, I think I got that when I got the 11. So it's several years old. Like things like that, like, like you don't have to drive a nice car, right? Nice cars are things that we hardly use. We spend most of our time, in our homes or in our jobs, or kind of out in the world. The amount of time that we spend in our cars, unless you're in sales, where you're physically going places, or you're a delivery person or something like that, the amount of time that we spend in our cars, isn't much, but we spend tons of money in our cars. So, so because of that, being mindful about that, also. I drive a Honda. So let's see here. So the green company says, when is the compare option for thumbnails available on YouTube? I have it right now. So I'll give you a preview real quick. So basically right here, if I click on this, you can just view the test report. So right here, you can see this particular one where I have the kind of let down face and then the stop. This particular one has 46.1% of the watch time share. This one right here, which is the Hey Guys thing, this one has 23%, and then graphics without me in it, without, my face or whatever, that has a 30%. I've got other ones that I've done that have been opposite, where if I'm in there, then, people didn't respond to them. I got the same information from TubeBuddy before, which is another thing that I want to mention. Like with YouTube's A/B testing tool that's going to be rolling out right now, 50,000 creators have it, but they're going to roll it out to more. So this is great for figuring out what works best for the recommendation system. But if you are somebody that's being strategic about your content and you want it to, and you're trying to get like search traffic for consistency and things like that, and you have a very diversified content strategy, in that particular case, you still want to use TubeBuddies, because all this shows is which one of these led to more watch time on YouTube's system, but they don't tell you where. Like led more watch time from home pages or suggested videos or search, like they don't share any of that information. So if you're being strategic, and let's say you are trying to get your videos to show up in search, then if you use TubeBuddies, they show you when people are in search, they click on it at this rate, they watch for this long, they engage like this, they give you like a full report on each traffic source that shows you exactly how people respond for each source. Keep in mind with theirs, YouTube is actually swapping it per impression, which is the like real way to do it. But with TubeBuddies, they are doing it by the day, but that's actually okay when they're doing it for YouTube search, because when it comes to YouTube search, like, again, volume isn't there in terms of like every minute somebody is, getting presented that content. So because of that, that daily swap is perfectly there is fine for YouTube search. Let's see here. What are some key strategies to effectively engage your audience and keep them coming back for more? I care. Like for me, I think that it's pretty clear in all of the content that I make, all the things that I do, the places that I spend my time when I'm coming, when I'm coming onto YouTube to make content. I care. I want the people that are interacting with my content to thrive on YouTube. The people that or not the people, but the experience that I've had as a YouTube content creator has changed my life in so many ways that I can't even count. And all of it has been positive. So because of that, I want other people to have a similar experience that I've had, or to gain the benefits that I've been able to gain out of this. So because of that, I'm extremely aggressive in, just trying to, help people out. So because of that, when I, live stream, I typically, like, for example, I'm already an hour and 25 minutes into this. I'm only supposed to stream here for an hour, but I have this extra time so that I can answer questions, because I know that some of the things that I talked about in the stream, some people might have questions about them, and I want to make sure that I don't leave people, without that clarity. So like when it comes to me, the thing that has been the most effective for me is just, that I genuinely care. Like you can't trick people to come back into your content. They have to enjoy the content. They have to like you, or like what it is that you're sharing, or get value from what it is that you're doing. So because of that, just lean into those sorts of things, and people are going to be able to tell. Apocalyptic Retrospective, glad that you're enjoying the content. Shorts don't get views first 5-6 hours, and after 2,000 views, flats and die out. So here's what's happening. If you're still here, what's happening is basically when you publish content on YouTube, it doesn't matter if it's video content or like a long form video or a short. What happens is when you publish, YouTube puts that content in front of the people that are that are on the platform at that moment in time, the most likely to engage with that content and enjoy it. Based on how they respond, it will go out to it'll either die there, or it'll go out to a wider group of people. When it goes out to that wider group of people, based on how they respond to it, it'll just keep going, or it'll stop there. So what happens is you're getting so far into general audiences, and then it's just kind of petering out to where, like people are responding, and then you just hit that threshold to where it's just not a good fit. So if you want to get past that, making content that is a little bit more broad in nature, still within your niche, right? So you can make sure that you're aligning with, the right audience for the content, for what it is that you're doing with your channel. But try to go for shorts, try to go as wide as you can in terms of your targeting based on the topics within your niche. So with whatever it is that you're doing, because you're doing art, think of things when it comes to YouTube Shorts, like if you're teaching people how to draw, then doing like quick tips for artists is definitely the move. But if you're just like doing like speed drawings and things like that, that type of thing is great because anybody can enjoy that when it comes to Shorts, but that might not necessarily be the audience that you're trying to gain, right? So it's good for numbers and looks good from the outside, but is that audience really going to help you accomplish the goals that you have? So making sure that the content that you're publishing is in alignment with what you're trying to do, plus it's within the widest audience that you can make the content for, but still, you know, being in your niche. That'll help you get past those thresholds. Toy channel, I'd be doing reviews. I would be targeting, you know, young people. I would be, you know, I would be targeting search for the parents, and or I would be targeting recommendations with just really high quality, very high saturation, very colorful pictures of toys. Let's see here. For TubeBuddy SEO optimization, is it still relevant to put hashtags in the title and description? No, don't put them in the title. Pin a comment, have a video liked on Facebook, etc. Is the TB SEO score of 100 a must? No. The SEO score of 100 is not a must, but, you know, it helps, right? Like, you want to make sure that you are optimizing everything properly. But really, in reality, your videos can show up and rank well in YouTube search as long as, you know, I mean, technically, if YouTube identifies that your video is about that topic and tests it in search and people start responding to it there, technically you don't need any optimization at all when it comes to search. But most search results aren't like that. So if you want to give yourself the leg up and increase the likelihood of showing up in search, you want to make sure that you have the keyword or keyword phrase in your title. You want to make sure that you have it in your description. Add the tag too, because the box is there, right? So just add the box, or add it until they take that box away. For like the, you know, liked video on Facebook, don't worry about that. That's not, you know, super important. If you do have a place where you can share it, that is a perfect fit for that content. Facebook group, Discord, something like that, that you've created around your content, then sharing it there, you know, can also just make sure the right people are clicking on it initially, and those people are also the highest likely to enjoy it. Quick tip for you, if you are sharing your content elsewhere, go into your traffic sources report for your videos. Go into external, which if you look at this graph right here, or not this graph, but this screenshot, external is, and you might know all this stuff already, I'm just telling you just in case, but basically if you go into your traffic sources report, you see the fourth one down there is external. If you click on that, then what you're going to see, let me take this down here. What you're going to see is you are going to see the places where people are sharing your content, or where you're sharing your content, or just where you're getting traffic from that's not on YouTube. It's going to show you those places, and then you can actually see the amount of time they spent watching the video. So then if you're sharing to your Facebook group and you're like, man, people are coming in and they're watching for like 3% of this, then in that case, you're like, okay, stop sharing it there, because, you know, they're not responding to it. But if they're watching, you know, like 80% or something like that, or they're just watching for an amount of time that feels competitive for you, then in that case, you know, sharing into that group, you know, could still be a win. Let's see here. I'm late. Figure Fever says, I just did a recent free giveaway. I received some views and I lost a few subs. Worried if I do another giveaway in the coming months, this might happen again. Stuck with what to do. So when it comes to doing giveaways for the sake of gaining subscribers, I think that's the wrong approach. The reason for that is because people will subscribe for the thing, not subscribe for your content. If you want to really grow your channel the right way, and you want to have a long, sustainable time as a YouTube content creator, grow your channel the right way and don't rely on gimmicks like that. I know that, you know, in some cases it can be marketing and stuff like that, but when it comes to YouTube, it's different here. So I don't recommend giveaways in any capacity for growing your YouTube channel. In addition to that, you have to be super careful, because, for example, if you say, I'm giving this away to one of my subscribers, or you need to be a subscriber in order to qualify for this, then you are violating YouTube's incentivization rules, which is a community guideline strike. So if they find out, or somebody reports you and you're saying the words, you have to be a subscriber in order to get this, YouTube looks at that like you're telling people, basically you're bribing people with the hope of possibly winning that thing that you're giving away. So there's that complication. In addition to that, you're going to have people that subscribe for the thing, and if they win or not, they're going to unsubscribe from the channel because they don't care about the content, right? And then you have the other side of, like if you're going to do a giveaway, in my opinion, I think that you should do the giveaway as like a means of giving back, right? Like do the giveaway to give versus doing the giveaway to receive, right? That's just my, belief on that. But when it comes to those things, just be careful with YouTube's rules. And also, like, I know somebody that grew their channel. They did, and this is back in the day before YouTube, released their incentivization policy. But back in the day, I know somebody that grew their channel. They did a collaboration with a big content creator. I think they had like 200 and something thousand subscribers at the time, and a super engaged audience. And one of her things, because she was friends with this other person, they said in order to win this thing, because it was a dual thing they did on both channels, they said you have to be a subscriber of both of these channels. And that large channel sent tons of subscribers over to the smaller channel, and the smaller channel never recovered. To this day, they're still struggling on that channel. But that channel never recovered for a long period of time. If you looked at their social blade, every single day, they were in the red from people unsubscribing to that channel because they got like 35 or 40,000 subscribers just from the giveaway. And then just over time, all those people bled out because they weren't there for the content. So big lesson learned when I found out about that. How can you push your post out to more of your subscribers? I want to do a poll to get more ideas. To push out more to your subscribers, all you can do there is make content that the people that initially see it respond to well, and make sure that you have the notify subscriber option checked. But if the video performs well, more of your subscribers are going to see it, as well as more new viewers. Do tags really matter? No, but use them until they take the box away. When they matter 0%, then they'll take the box away. One thing that that is interesting to me when it comes to tags is the message is don't worry about tags because they don't matter. But then they say make sure that you put in, or you can use them to put in misspellings and things like that. So it's like, well, if it would matter for misspellings, why doesn't it matter for everything else, right? Just it doesn't make any sense. And they keep the box there. So they've removed tons of features on YouTube, but that one's still there. So as soon as that one doesn't matter anymore, 100%, they're going to take it away. So until they remove that box, keep using it. This is another great feature of TubeBuddy is they have the tag suggestion tool. So when you upload your video, and they even do this for free users, when you upload your video, it gives you suggested tags, and then you just click on it, say, yes, this is relevant to the video, this isn't, and then you add whatever tags are necessary, and then you move on with your life. I'm Shay, my pleasure. Glad that you're enjoying the content. Advice for growing a Barbie channel. Yeah, I would make sure that you're using very crystal clear Barbie imagery in your content. I'm not sure what you're actually doing with the channel in terms of the content, but basically at the very front of it, I would make very high resolution, super saturated, very good looking thumbnails for that and see how they respond to those. If they don't respond to those, then try to make some more amateurish ones. But I would hop on YouTube search, and just look at the other Barbie channels that are thriving in the space and see what they're doing, because they're leading the pack. They figured out what works for that audience. So see what they're doing and follow suit. Use your YouTube analytics to see how people are responding to your content. Use your audience retention report specifically. Look at your absolute retention, which shows how people are responding to your videos second by second, and look at your compared to other videos. That's going to tell you how well you're competing with other content of similar length. Best strategy for small real estate companies getting more views and subscribers. So what you really want as a small real estate company is you want leads. You don't want views and subscribers, right? You're not trying to grow a YouTube channel. You're trying to grow, you're trying to add to your bottom line. So in that particular case, here's some things to keep in mind. Yes, you can have like, these are the listings in our neighborhood. You can definitely have that. You can have a show around that. But keep in mind, if your goal is to bring attention to your real estate company or your real estate services, I would think about what are the people in my area? What type of value could I add to them that would allow me to introduce my real estate service to them or let them know that I'm a real estate professional? So some options that you can do here, and these are kind of out of the box, approaches here, but most real estate agents, they just put listings up there. They'll make videos about like how to buy your first home and, things like that. Every real estate agent makes those videos. Because of that, the competition is ridiculous. However, most cities do not have multiple YouTube channels that are keeping people up to date with things that they can do for the weekend, right? Hey, welcome to Friday. Welcome to our, Friday things to do in whatever this area is, brought to you by Country Boy Realty. This weekend, We've got the food festival, that's coming to town. We've got this, that, and the other thing. This is going to be happening from here. I looked at the weather report. It's supposed to be raining, so make sure that you bring your coat. We've got this, that, and the other thing. Doing those types of things to where you can just do it and just like a setup, just do it from your office. There's that type of approach, and all of that is either sponsored by, brought to you by, you and your service. You can also have it as part of your lower third, where you have your name on there, and then you can have, your website or whatever for your realty, and you can even do something clever at the sign off where, hey, remember, if you're looking for a house, I sell them. Make sure you, get in touch or, whatever the thing. What that will do for you is that will get people introduced to you. That will make you a valuable resource that people will continue to check in on as long as you do it, in a way that is engaging for people. So if you don't know how to do any like videos or anything like that, then that's going to be a challenge. I would hire help for people that do. But I'd put together literally a weekend show that you do. You can do it, or you can have somebody in your team do it. But put that together and actually start being a resource for something in your area. It can be keeping people up to date on real estate prices. It can be keeping people up to date on things that are happening on the weekend. It can be anything like that. But I would become a local source for something, and then I would use that as a means to continually plug your real estate service. That's also going to help people get to know you and get to know the nuance of your personality. And because you're in sales, as well as I do, that, people buy from people that they know, like, and trust. So when they, get to know you through your content, you can look, if you hop on Google and you look for parasocial relationships, it's the whole idea is that it's one-sided relationships. So when people are watching your content, they get to know you to the point that if they're watching you on a regular basis, they feel like they know you. And for some of them, like when you meet people in person, like me, when I watch content creators, I was just at Vid Summit in September, and Matt Wolf. So he covers AI content, and I'd never met him in person before. And I saw him at Vid Summit. I was like, "Hey, dude, watching your videos, blah, blah, blah." And we just, started talking or whatever. And I felt like I've known him for a long time just because I've been watching his videos, right? So I didn't have that barrier of oh gosh, I hope he's nice or whatever. I was like, yeah, he seems like a really cool dude. I'm just gonna go say hi, right? Because I felt like I knew him. So when it comes to making content, you have that whole parasocial interaction or parasocial relationship thing, and that can really take you, a long way. So if I was selling real estate, and if I was in the States, because I'm in Thailand, but if I was selling real estate in America, I would have a weekend show, at least one weekend show, where I was keeping people up to date with what was going on. Me personally, I would actually go to some of these things, and I would I'd be like the person on the scene. I'd be live streaming stuff. I'd be like, hey, here we are at this, that, and the other thing, blah, blah, blah. So, any downtime that I had of not actually selling houses, I would be the front person of that, trying to bring attention to the real estate services. That's what I would do. It's a lot of work, but, let's see here. Do you have any? Okay, we did the Barbie channel already. Circle H Scuba, thank you. Glad that you enjoyed that. Carlos, my man, what's going on, dude? Hope that you're doing fantastic. Best place to put a meta tag keyword for SEO. Title. Yeah, you got to do title. So basically the idea is you want to put the keyword or keyword phrase, like in your case, because you're doing real estate content, I would go after all the obvious stuff, right? Like hop on TubeBuddy and hop into YouTube's autocomplete and start looking for things in your area, like all the real estate questions. And, build content around that if you want to, for the optimization. If you do decide to go the route where you're going to do like updates on things that are happening this weekend and stuff, if you have the personality for that, then in that case, I would start looking for things that people are looking for around that, and then start getting your strategy together for going after that approach. Let's see here. Man, this is tough because sometimes they just slowly rise through the ranks. Sometimes, like this live stream that you're seeing right here, when I published this live stream, I got a photo of it here. When I published this live stream, I was ranked number 3 in 3 minutes. I don't know if it's still there now, but I was ranked number 3 in 3 minutes when I scheduled this particular live stream. So it can happen quickly, it can happen slowly. It just depends on how competitive it is. It can, there's a lot of factors. But if you optimize it for search, keep in mind, it can show up in YouTube search. It can also show up in all the textual search engines as well, which is another thing for the real estate channel, for the Cowboy Realty. Another thing for you to consider as well is when you make videos for YouTube, they carry a lot of weight when it comes to Google search as well. So if you look at this screenshot right here, let me take this comment off the screen. When you look at this comment right here, you can see here, or this search phrase, this is in Google, this isn't on YouTube, but they're showing YouTube videos here. So one thing that you can do from the real estate side is you can actually go and you can be like, okay, let me go and start searching Google for, all these things and see what shows up and see what I can compete for. And then for the videos that you do make, like if you have the personality channel to where you're like doing the news and things like that, keeping people up to date on like the things to do in the area, concerts come to town, all that stuff, like everything that is there for entertainment that they can do on the weekend. Then in that case, you might want to have that on your main channel or not. But if you don't, then you should still make a channel to where you look at all of the questions that people are asking about your area, things to do, best places to buy houses, your tax rates, your property taxes, your best school, like all those things. Just do all the keyword research for the entire area, figure out what they are. Go to Google search, put those things in, look for video results. If it shows video results, that means that when people are using Google, that means that they are responding to the videos that are there. If it's only text results, then it means that people are looking for textual information and that's what they respond to. But if you see video results, then that means like, okay, I can compete for this. And then like, it doesn't matter how good your website ranks, YouTube videos carry weight in some cases. If it's a good video, that like you can literally show up in YouTube search within minutes of publishing a video. So it's super powerful, especially for bringing attention to your real estate service. Let's see here. Just looking for questions here. I'm gonna have to get off of here in a second, but just looking for this. So, how long does it take the average channel to reach 1,000 subscribers? I'm not sure, but I do know that most videos on YouTube, and it's something huge. I think it's like 88%. I don't know why I'm saying 88. It's either 85, 88, something like that. But most videos on YouTube don't have more than 1,000 views on them. So, in terms of how long it takes to reach 1,000 subscribers, for some people, they can make it happen in their first video. Other people, it might take them, years. I've seen people on Reddit like, yeah, I've been making videos for 8 years and I just crossed 1,000 subscribers, stuff like that. So it depends on, let's talk about that. What does it depend on? So it's going to depend on your ability to develop your skills quickly in your understanding. Because just like anything else, and I'm just going to use the real estate channel because they were in here. So when a real estate professional, like if they have experience in real estate and they've been doing it for a long time, when they walk into a house, they see that house differently than the potential buyer that's walking in, like a potential first-time buyer that's walking into that house. A first-time buyer, they might not necessarily even know the things to look for in terms of like, okay, is this house going to be a problem? We're going to have to repair stuff, things like that. They're looking at it through the lens of like, oh, hey, I'd put a sofa here, put a TV here, I'd have my friends over, we'd do this, maybe I'd do this over here. But the real estate agent's looking at it, through a different lens if they have experience, because they know, like, yeah, if they get this house, they're probably going to have to do this, they're going to have to do this. They're young, they're probably going to have a family. If they're going to have a family, they're going to need these extra rooms. Like they're seeing, that experience completely different. When it comes to YouTube, it's the same way. So as you develop your skill set, you're going to be able to see everything differently. So the way that you're looking at YouTube right now is like, as you learn more about YouTube and the skills involved, with being a successful long-term content creator, you're going to see videos differently. Like, you're going to watch videos and enjoy them, but like you're going to be able to notice details in production. You're going to be able to notice details in audio. You're going to see when somebody does something in a thumbnail and you're going to know why they did it. You're going to see a title and you're going to be like, oh, I see what they were trying to do here, right? Like everything's going to be crystal clear. But right now, if you're just getting started, some of that might not be as clear yet. So that's why it's super important to work on your understanding of the platform and how it works. Work on just your understanding of just the different strategies, like some of the stuff we talked about today in terms of targeting search, targeting recommendations, how to do that specifically. If you missed that part of the stream, definitely watch the replay. But learning just learning how YouTube systems work, that will answer a lot of the questions that people have when it comes to like, okay, why do my videos get to here and then they stop? Well, the reason for that is just based on how the system works, right? People stopped responding at this point, therefore the video, it flatlined there. So, that's why you'll also see like Like when it comes to, you know, YouTube, you have, you know, people with experience, you know, like myself, because I've been doing this for almost a decade. You know, people with experience like myself, I can come on here and I can pull up a YouTube channel. I can be like, yeah, you got to fix this. You got to fix this. This isn't clear. These titles aren't clear. You know, this is incorrect just based on best practices. You got to make sure setting up here, you're missing opportunities here, here, and here. Like I can do that, but a new content creator, you know, they can come in here and they can make theories about stuff that might be the case. But like, you know, that experience and the skills will help you, you know, be able to just do things differently and hit those goals faster. Let's see here. Do you have something to get the multiple thumbnails up yourself? Yeah, you just upload them. So basically, I'm publishing a video about this on my channel. It's already recorded. I think it's going up tomorrow. But basically, it's a preview of the A/B testing tool. So just make sure that you check that out. David Venture says I skipped over their question. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of scrolling through these looking for the cues. So I might have just mentioned it. You can ask it again. Let's see here. For new YouTubers, which would you recommend, TubeBuddy or TubeSpanner, and why? I recommend that content creators use every tool that you can get your hands on. Like I mentioned before, this stuff is not easy. It's difficult. And anything that you can use that will help you in any capacity, you should be using it. So, you know, like if you're trying to get your videos to show up in search, use TubeBuddy. It's going to help you be able to understand that better. If you're trying to A/B test your thumbnails right now for YouTube search or just for recommendations and because you don't have YouTube's feature, use TubeBuddy for that. If you're trying to bulk update your videos, use TubeBuddy for that. If you're trying to look at the heat map in terms of if you have a thumbnail, where is the attention going in that thumbnail so you can make sure people are focused on the right thing, use TubeBuddy for that. If you're like, hey, I'm looking, I have multiple YouTube channels, or I do different like live stream shows, or I do videos on like, you know, 4 different things, and because of that I have different like video descriptions and stuff like that for them, then in that case use TubeSpanner's Upload Assistant. If you're like, hey, I love watching YouTube videos, but I never have like a notepad with me when I'm doing it, and I watch them, you know, like I don't want to put the notes on my phone, then in that case use their browser extension and use their notepad option where you can just sit there and put in your notes, and then it locks in the timestamps for those notes, right? So like all these different tools, they have different things. So I recommend that you use everything that that you find helpful, whatever it is. We talked about this earlier in the stream in some pretty good detail, so definitely make sure that you watch the replay. How to grow a channel that started from scratch. The very first step is that you need to understand what it is that you're offering, what you're trying to accomplish, and who it is that you're targeting with your content. When you understand those things, it's going to answer a lot of questions for you in terms of tactical things. Like, okay, like what do I make videos about? You know, do I go after YouTube recommendations? Do I go after YouTube search? Like, you know, do I publish, you know, this video? Do I publish this video? Do I publish what videos first? That kind of stuff. So first, understand those things. Next, you got to get your skills up so that you can learn how to you do this stuff properly. The way that you do that is by publishing content on a regular basis. So lock in consistency and build it into your schedule so that you can ensure that you're publishing content on a regular basis so that you can keep practicing, right? Because you got to keep developing the skills. So you got to keep practicing. So because of that, you want to, you know, make sure that you're working on those things. If your content type supports it, then having search targeted videos when you first start is a really good move if you are new to this stuff and you don't know how to get the attention for recommendations yet, because in YouTube search, people are actively looking for your content. But at some point, I recommend that you do experiment with trying to get that recommendation, you know, attention from like YouTube homepage and suggested videos, that you experiment with that more aggressively, because that's where the big quick wins are, where YouTube search is like super stable, long game stuff, right? It's YouTube search is amazing. But if you want, you know, the quicker wins, then those usually happen through YouTube's recommendation system. But basically just getting super clear on your content, being intentional with every piece of content that you publish, understand why you're publishing everything. In my content calendar, I literally have, I have one of my tags for my content calendar that's just people need to hear this. Some of them are like money videos, sponsored videos. These videos typically grow the channel, so I call them view subscriber videos. And then I have literally a tag that says people need to hear this. That's one of them. So like every video that I publish, I know exactly why it's publishing or why it's why I'm making it before I even make the content. That's why I'm not super concerned. Like, if I publish a video, of course, everybody wants their videos to do well. I do too. But if I publish a video and it's search targeted and I know that and it doesn't do that great right out of the gate, it's fine. I don't care. And the reason I don't care is because, like I said, I've been doing this for almost a decade. So if I publish that video and I know it's targeted for search, I know that it'll end up picking up in search later on, and then it'll be fine. So I don't care, right? If it's 1 out of 10 or 10 out of 10, makes no difference to me whatsoever. If it's a video that's targeted towards recommendations, in that particular case, because I know I make good content and I know people gain value from what it is that I do, and I know that I, through the schedule that I have, I also have my links built in, so I know that in this video I'm going to link to this one, I'm going to link to this one. I actually have in my iPad, I have a planner that I made. You can find it at Pad Planet if you have an iPad. But basically, for that planner, I literally write down the video topics, and then I draw arrows to what's going to link to what. And by doing that, it just makes sure that I'm also linking to some of those videos as well. So even if they don't do great out of the gate, I know that I can count on every video that I publish for a certain amount of views. Let's see here. Hey, my pleasure. My pleasure. No translation, probably because it's a live stream. Let's see here. How to do SEO for video title. Yeah, we've talked about the SEO stuff quite a bit. So I'm just looking for, do I have this live stream every Thursday? No, I do not. But there are, I think I've done the only live streams on this channel out of the last handful of streams. But I usually do these the last Wednesday of the month. I was sick on this last Wednesday, so because of that, I had to reschedule it, which is why I'm doing it today. But I usually do them here on this channel the last Wednesday of the month, and I do live streams on my channel every Saturday, where I just answer questions like we've been doing for the last hour. I do that on my channel for 3 hours every Saturday. Let's see here. We did the Barbie channel. Is it normal to have 4,000 hours of 4,000 watch hours and only 600 subs? I'm not understanding this metric. I thought subs came before the watch time. What is more important? So it's all important. But when it comes to getting monetized, like, you need to get both, right? You got to hit that 1,000 hours and 4,000 hours of watch time. Every channel is different. So some channels will hit the 4,000 first. Other channels hit the 1,000 subscribers first. It just all depends on, the content. Every channel is different. So because of that, don't worry about it. You got 600 subscribers. That means that you have proof of concept. That means that you've been able to get, like, even if you had 100 people that subscribe, you've still got 500 people that that didn't or that you didn't know subscribe, which means that now you just have to think at scale, right? Because now if you start fine-tuning your content, you start using your YouTube analytics to learn how to make better content for your viewers, and just, also just understanding who it is that you're reaching and making sure that your entire channel is targeted towards the interest of a certain group of people. If you do those things now that you have this proof of concept, then all it is now is just fine-tuning. And then over time, you'll continue to grow because you have, at least 550, we'll say, people. If you didn't get, a lot of people that to subscribe when you first started, then we'll just say 550 people that you don't know subscribe to your YouTube channel, and you got the 4,000 hours of watch time, which means that people are enjoying your content. So you're doing the thing. People are responding well. So now it just comes down to fine tuning, right? So you're well on your way. Do you delete videos that are clearly not doing well? So it depends. So if you are somebody that's just trying to get into the YouTube Partner Program, don't delete anything. And the reason you don't want to delete anything is because if you delete a video from YouTube or you unlist it, then you lose the public views and the public watch hours. So it would reduce your 4,000 hours of watch time by the hours that were accumulated from that particular video. But if you do have content you published and you're like, man, this has been on the platform for a year and nobody's enjoyed this, then in that case, you might want to take it off. Or if you are making content that is not relevant to that anymore. So if the person that watched that video, or let's do it this way, if the person that watched your most recent video, if they wouldn't care about some of those older videos, then that's where you might also consider that as well. But keep in mind, when you do delete videos, in addition to that public watch time and public view counts, it also deletes you from the recent watch history of people that have interacted with that content, which can also be a negative as well. My videos are an hour long and only 6% of the whole thing, but total view time is 12 minutes. Should I shorten them? Yeah, I would. What's the best way to get better audience retention on gaming channels? Really good hook. understand your viewers and the things they care about. So for example, like, I don't know if you're teaching people about the game or if you're actually just doing like Let's Plays. So if you're on Let's Plays, you got to have a super personality for it, be super engaging, or have some type of thing that you're doing that is different than everybody else. Every now and then I'll drop into like a Fortnite thing when they do like a big update or whatever. And the ones that I drop into are usually the ones that YouTubers recommending to me. And those are usually the ones where the people are just like super engaging to watch. And because of that, you know, I'll sit there and watch them. But, you know, you see a lot of content creators on like Reddit and stuff where they're in like the new YouTuber subreddit and they're like, man, why isn't anybody, you know, watching my videos? And you click into it and they're just like sitting there for, you know, 3 minutes when the video first starts on just like a loading screen or like a loadout screen or something like that. And, you know, their audio is really low and it's kind of hard to hear. The game audio is super loud and their voice is low, or the game audio is low and the voice is super high. Like, you know, just the production side of it makes it kind of hard to watch. So because of that, like, I would definitely, you know, just make sure that you're putting everything together in the best way possible, that you're being engaging in the best way that you possibly can as well. But keep in mind, like Let's Plays, you can grow them, but that's a hard route if you're just like recording raw content and just letting it roll. I would definitely not do that. I would edit the videos down and make them good content, and be intentional too. So like when you start, if you're wanting to increase your retention on a gaming channel, when it starts, say, this is what we're trying to do. So it's not like, hey, we're playing this game today. It's like, okay, this game, we're trying to do this. So we're trying to get through the whole thing with like, you know, just like one, you know, piece of equipment or something. Or, you know, we're just going to walk this whole map today and see how far we can get before somebody gets us, or, you know, things like that. So make it something interesting instead of like, hey, I'm just going to sit here and play the game and then just hope people are going to come in and watch this video, right? Like, you're making content for other people. And when you're making content for other people, you have to keep that in mind and make content that other people would actually want to watch. I'm not saying you're not doing that. I'm just saying that, you know, because I didn't look at your channel. I'm just saying that you got to make sure you're doing that. Okay, so on that note, because I've been going here for quite some time, but really quick, is it allowed to do a vertical live stream screen recording the phone while using an app to show the viewers how to use it while talking, screen recording silently? It's allowed to do vertical live stream screen recording on the phone while using an app. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand the question there. Sorry about that. Yeah, just the way that was phrased, I don't fully get what you're trying to say there. Is that Talk Sex in the House? What's up, dude? Hope you're doing awesome. But yeah, so on that note, I hope you got value out of this. This went way longer than it was supposed to do, or supposed to be. But, you know, a lot of good, you know, questions, you know, came in. Unlimited playlists, Karen. But I hope you got some value out of this. You can find out more about TubeBuddy down in the description, or we're on the TubeBuddy channel, so you can just click on the channel name and then go see more of the content. They have a bunch of content here that will help you as a YouTube content creator. So make sure you're subscribed to the TubeBuddy channel as well. If you're not familiar with me, my name is Nick Nimmin. You can find me by going to YouTube search and typing in Nick and then Nimmin. All roads there will lead to my channel. In addition to that, I got a link to me and all of my social accounts down in the description, so you can just click on that. Find me everywhere online as well. And again, I do live streams on my channel where I just do Q&As every Saturday for 3 hours straight, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern with my brother D. So make sure that you check those out as well. And besides that, have an awesome rest of your week, and I'll see you next time.